Activism of Care. I hope you're doing wonderful today. Please explore the hundreds of excellent videos I have here that do a full spectrum analysis on the culture, relationships, toxic parents, dysfunctional relationships, and of course, the epidemic of personality disorders. And it's sort of just like how it just seems like a horror movie where vampires have taken over our culture and our school systems and our workplaces and our families. And it just feels like that I'm surrounded by a lot of vampires. Dr. Albert Bernstein wrote the book Emotional Vampires, which was about personality disorders and psychology. And it's really tough. If you're not a vampire, you're not manipulative like a lot of people are, and you're very a deeply feeling, intuitive person. You've got a lot of empathy more than the average person. Well, then it's harder and more challenging to be in a nightmarish culture like this. It's a Twilight Zone, snitch culture, tattletale culture, mobbing culture, gang stalker culture, you name it. There's just so much going on all at once, and it's really tough to deal with that. That's why I created this online sanctuary for you, for other people who've been alienated, wrongfully ostracized. Good people are ostracized for the wrong reasons. It's out of jealousy, paranoia, anger issues, you name it. Just all kinds of varieties of mixed up bad feelings that narcissists and borderlines have. And of course, they're always treating you wrongfully. My last video, I addressed how they're the ones that are wrong. They're wronging you every time they gaslight you. Every time they compare you to somebody else, they compare you to a friend, a neighbor, a former girlfriend. They compare you, and they're doing this all the time to triangulate, to make you look like you're the defective person, or they make you kind of come across like, oh, you're just a simpleton, or even worse, they try to portray you or defame you as a criminal or a potential danger to the community. There's a lot going on, and we all know this, that there's a corrosive quality to the narcissists and borderlines around us, and it's tough to live with them, to be roommates with them, to go to school with them, to go to work with them. And there's something that they do is they try to BULLYCIDE their victims. So I'm going to talk about how they try to BULLYCIDE. It's a deliberate strategy. They fantasize the death of their victim, and they're just kind of trying to push their victim closer and closer to death, whatever it could be, suicide, or just hoping that their victim gets in with an abusive crowd and ends up getting killed. Or just, there's just this wishful thinking of narcissists and psychopaths that they want you to die. They want to BULLYCIDE you. So that's something that I want to address here with everybody. It's a big problem. And sociology, cultural anthropology, politics, it's something you should explore more about. You got to explore that dark side of human nature. And, most adults don't want to ever elaborate on these kinds of issues. Most adults, most grown-ups are, their minds are programmed by the workplaces they work in. So all they can think about is how do you please the boss, or how do you cater to customers. You go home, you watch a couple hours of sitcoms, and you go to sleep. And so you do that every day, month after month. And that's something that most Americans are programmed to do. There's really not a lot of time to read books by Chris Hedges or Andrew Napolitano. I'm glad that people have time to click onto my channel and listen to Activism. I created this because there's just not enough well-rounded resources on these subjects. And then on top of that, it's a lot of channels dumb it down. And somebody has written me on occasion. More than one person has addressed that there's quite a bit of channels out there that do address psychopaths, bully culture, narcissists, but it's just sometimes overly simplified, and it's sort of dumbed down to sort of like a first grader level. And I think it's important that we advance our brains and our minds to adult level. Let's catch up with being, adults, because, we've been programmed to work our asses off 10 hours a day at some boring, tedious assembly line job, or, we're just acclimated to sitting on the couch watching, binge watching Netflix or TV sitcoms or sports. And there's, your brain goes into a, like a Homer Simpson mode. It goes into like a remedial mode. So, I try not to watch a lot of television. I watch maybe like a couple episodes of my favorite TV shows every couple of days, but I don't really focus a lot of my life on watching television or binge watching Netflix or anything like that, like a lot of people I know do. I get a lot of joy and energy out of having conversations and out of talking, out of being eloquent, out of elaborating and describing exactly what I've experience in life related to these sociological subjects, true life issues that are ignored and just not really talked about for various reasons. Really, there's just not a lot of time to talk about these feelings or these subjects, because either people are burnt out because they're working 10 hours a day, or they're just, programmed they have self-programming to just sit around on the couch binge-watching Netflix. So I actually get energized by talking about this. It's sort of a passion of mine, and it's great. It's wonderful, and I do not like to be the victim of bullying or BULLYCIDE, or, you know, the psychopaths trying to BULLYCIDE, their victim trying to bully you into just like blowing your brains out with a gun or something, or, you know, overdosing on drugs. You know, this is exactly what they try to do. They try to BULLYCIDE you. So think about that. I mean, there's been some cases where children end up killing themselves because they are mobbed by bullies. There's no checks and balances. There's no leadership. There's bad communication. There's negligence in a lot of our school systems. Also, it happens in our workplaces, and it happens in the military. It happens in toxic families. Anywhere there's a narcissist, there's going to be a lot of darkness. There's going to be a lot of secrecy and mysteriousness and bad luck and a lot of toxic energy. So the more you explore that, the better. So I'm just here validating that. I'm just here encouraging you to continue to do that. And I hope that you will listen to more Activism of Care videos, as you will also continue to hopefully donate through GoFundMe.com. You know, and I'm going to continue to go to the library or, you know, explore books. There's some smart people out there who want more information. They want more knowledge. They want, they want a book or two or three books that, a really proficient researcher has written about, you know, focusing or specializing in these areas of abuse or of injustice or of inequality or of bully culture. So if you're a very curious, smart person like myself, you want more and more and more and more knowledge. You want more and more information. You want more and more of it. Whereas the average person, they might just be very dismissive of all of this. But if you're coming to my channel, when you're a victim, you've been victimized so many times. Your mind, your brain is different than other people because you've been abused so much. So your brain has sort of been programmed. And what you do is sometimes you need resources, and you need like a list of books or articles, or, you know, I love certain YouTube channels like Michelle
Hamblin.
and Les Carter.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to find me on YouTube.
Those are my favorites. Shrink for Men has some really good content.
Oh, thank you. It's so good hanging out with you.
But, I also listen to Activism of Care videos that I've
That's
made.
the plan, yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, some of my videos are really awesome. They help me out, so I'm sure that they help other people.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm probably going to hike up later tonight and then stay up there and then hike and then fly at some point. It's nice. It's so much fun just to kind of take the slower path. It's really not that much more work, but it's a lot of planning more than actual work. But I enjoy it, and it's turned out to be an amazing lifestyle, and I really love running into people like yourself that appreciate that. And yeah, I know, you're awesome. Yeah, hopefully we get to fly together tomorrow.
And you might have other kinds of issues as well, like you might identify with the abuser more than identifying with people that are sympathetic. So that's something that unfortunately does happen, is you identify with the abuser and then you start to abuse your own self. This is the sickness that psychopaths...
He's definitely one of the gems of the flight community.
They turn your mind against itself. Mind rape is a very big problem when you're dealing with these narcissists and these psychopaths and other types of mentally ill people. So at extreme levels, it's gang stalking, which is usually incited by authorities, people in power, law enforcement that are abusing their power. So you got to think about that, and think about, that is a very, it's a possibility that you're going through that as well. So I definitely created this online broadcast for targeted individuals. That's anybody that believes that, they're a targeted individual or a person of interest treated with suspicion in your own community, and that you're a victim of community-based harassment, entrapment, and cyberstalking. So I'm definitely a victim of that, and I'm happy to clarify and explain about my real-life experiences. I've gone through a pattern of that, so I've kind of lived in the same area most of my life. So there's definitely a lot of corruption in law enforcement around here, and the way that they break the law is by inciting citizens to become flying monkeys, using the citizens as the eyes and ears of the law enforcement or of authorities, or of, it could be, the boss at your company that uses your coworkers to spy and snitch on you. The walls have ears and eyes, and that's the way that
they didn't read the Nuremberg Accords.
That just tells me how fascist the world really is, even though we have a constitution. Authorities and people in power who are psychopaths will find ways to outmaneuver the Constitution and the precedent that the Supreme Court of the United States has validated for all of us citizens. So you got to be aware that the authorities will find ways, and one of the ways that is most commonly used is abuse by proxy, and that's by either putting others that other citizens, other acquaintances,
good clean lines,
or threatening them, or maybe using a reward system to use them to stalk you, to cyber stalk you, to cyber harass you, to set you up for failure, to mob you, discriminate against you, gaslight you, you name it. They can really. That really does happen in real life. It's a coordinated, community-based harassment and entrapment. Just basically the community setting you up for failure. So this is something that is a big problem. understand just how severe it can get. You know, it can get really severe. In corrupt school systems, it's known as school-to-prison pipeline, and usually minorities like Black and Hispanic minorities are targeted for the school-to-prison pipeline. So that's, you know, one of the reasons why there's more, more minorities in prison. It's because they're targeted, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of coordinated harassment and entrapment and setups, and then the police are ready to make their arrest. The police have collected their evidence. It's tainted, but sometimes defense attorneys are corrupt, and it's corrupt all the way through, where the targeted individual doesn't even have a fair chance because the precedent that the Supreme Court has set has been corroded by a community of psychopaths. So that really does happen in real life. I want people to be aware of all this, and that's just one of the ways in which they try to BULLYCIDE the targeted individual. So you guys are very strong, wonderful people, and I'm here to encourage you to keep protecting your confidence, protect your self-worth, protect your future. And knowledge really is power, and books have knowledge. You're going to filter through a lot of propaganda, a lot of lousy books, sure. There's a lot of mediocre authors out there, so you got to use your mind, critical thinking to filter through out a lot of the garbage books that are out there. I mean, there's a lot of just terrible books that are out there. But I put up a list for you all to enjoy. It's a list of books. So when you click on my GoFundMe, I want everybody to click on the GoFundMe, and see like a really good list of books, and I'm just going to keep adding that. Also, you can look at the slideshow for more information on that as well. Okay, so yeah, I've recommended Dangerous Personalities, an FBI Profiler shows you how to identify and protect yourself from harmful people by Joe Navarro. It's just a really good book. And Give Me Liberty, Freeing Ourselves in the 21st Century by Jerry Spence. Okay, Trapped in the Mirror, Adult Children of Narcissists and Their Struggle for Self by Keelan Golub is one of my favorite books on being a child, growing up, being raised or parented or coached or mentored by narcissists as you were growing up. That can really stifle your future. It can really make you feel bad inside, as well as really destroy your opportunities. It can really hinder your pursuit of happiness when you really deserve a whole lot better. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of all of this. And I want you to really take good care of yourself. And so recently I've been exploring some other books like Citizen Spies. I'm skimming through that book right now. Citizen Spies, The Long Rise of American Surveillance Society. And this is how narcissists try to set you up and gaslight you, making you feel like you're guilty, making you feel like you're like you have no rights, like you were a nobody, that you're worthless, that you're nothing, that you're just a servant or a slave to the community. And so Citizen Spies, The Long Rise of American Surveillance Society is a relatively new book. It's by Joshua Lees. And ever since the revelations that whistleblower Edward Snowden made leak about surveillance as the data tracking digital technology produced by the likes of the National Security Administration and the military, but in reality the state and allied institutions have a much longer history of using everyday citizens to spy and inform on their peers. Citizen Spies show how if you see something, say something is more than just a new homeland security program. It has been an essential civic responsibility throughout the history of the United States, from the use of the town crier in colonial America to the recruitment of youth to junior police to the rise of the neighborhood watch, Amber Alerts, and Emergency 911. Joshua Reeves explores how ordinary citizens have been taught to carry out surveillance on their peers, emphasizing the role humans play in seeing and saying subjects. He demonstrates how American society has continuously fostered cultures of vigilance, suspicion, meddling, snooping, and snitching, tracing the evolution of police crowd sourcing from hue and cry posters and America's Most Wanted to police affiliated social media, as well as the U.S.'s recurrent anxieties about political dissidents and ethnic minorities from the Red Scare to the War on Terror. Reeves teases out how vigilance toward neighbors has long been aligned with American ideals of patriotic and moral duty. Taking the long view of the history of the citizen spy, this book offers a much-needed perspective for those interested in how we arrived at our current moment in surveillance culture and contextualizes contemporary trends in policing. So, definitely check out that book. The book addresses the power of the crowd, is crowdsourcing, citizen equipment, the rise of 9/11 emergency, neighborhood watching, regulating citizens' control, recognize, resist, report, dare, America, independent police, and terror, citizenship, surveillance, and civil defense. So there you go. That's kind of like what he addresses. But I've been a victim of the surveillance society that we live in the United States, and really it's just a widespread covert operation of law enforcement.
Yeah.
At the state and local level, keeping dossiers on targeted individuals, online links to people that are persons of interest, people that are deemed as suspicious or deemed as, untrustworthy.
Wow. Hey, he's walking. That's not a crash. That's a landing.
Yeah. It makes it hard for you to be, to have maximize their potential when people are spying like you, people are snitching, and there's, it's more likely that, it's more likely that rumors will get going So unfortunately, this can happen, and behind all these systems are narcissists. You know, there's behind a system, there's always a mentally ill, psychotic, deranged, narcissistic personality disorder neurons that are abusing processes.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely flagrant, as you can imagine. But you know, like I told everybody, you know, you need to do watchdog journalism. You need to kind of put up, you know, make blogs or you know, YouTube about it. You know, do anything you can to get this out there to everybody. You know, get it out there to as many people as possible when you know that you've observed a pattern of this and been dealing with it for a long time. So, but a lot of people, I would say, have more problems with narcissists interpersonally, one-on-one, with a bad boyfriend, a bad girlfriend, a bad spouse, a bad roommate, toxic parents. You know, sometimes the people that are closest to us, the nearest and dearest, are the most venomous people. And so it can be really rough. Also, if you've ever worked in really horrible workplaces, you know, you're working 8 or 9 hours a day with the same people every damn day. You know, they can be venomous rattlesnakes as well. So, you know, it's sometimes the people that are very close to you that are, you know, slowly, symbolically putting in a little bit of poison into your water bottle when you're not looking, or you're putting a little bit of poison in your cup of coffee every day when you're not looking, and gradually you're getting sicker. And, you know, I've been poisoned before, literally. And yeah, gradually I got sicker, and it took about a year to recover, but this can happen psychologically.
This is why I love flying.
You know, in other types of ways in which they invade your boundaries and really, you know, humiliate you, or even sexually molest you or sexually harass you. Maybe they take a little bit of money away from you at a time. Like they'll take, you know, $1 away, you know, or $5 they'll be just stealing from you little by little. And there's different ways in which they rob you and bamboozle you and treat you like garbage.
Wow.
So The Last Man Standing, The Tragedy and Triumph of Geronimo Pratt by Jack Olson is another book that I wanted to read.
Can't beat that deal.
I haven't been able to skim through it yet, but
well,
it looks
were
really
accurate.
good.
The models were very, very accurate today.
Once again, the book is called Last Man Standing. It's an unforgettable chronicle of the 27-year struggle to break a conspiratorial abuse of power and free one of America's most famous political prisoners. In 1968, 20-year-old Elmer Geronimo Pratt returned from Vietnam with a chest full of medals and a purple into the most heated racial climate in American history. Taking advantage of the GI Bill Pratt role at UCLA, where the Black Panther Party was busy recruiting propelled by an immigrant group of African Americans. The Panther agenda was a volatile mix of black rage, black pride, altruism, idealism, and violence. Under the charismatic leadership of Eldridge Newton, Bobby Seale, and Bunchy Carter, Pratt rose to the rank of Deputy Minister of Defense and became leader of the Los Angeles chapter. The Panthers did not go unnoticed by Jack Newton. His FBI drew up its own list of Panthers to be neutralized.
I didn't want to take that route.
And began a systematic counterintelligence program to undermine black solidarity. Geronimo Pratt headed Hoover's list when an FBI informer within the Panther Party agreed to testify that Pratt murdered a young woman at a Santa Monica tennis court. His days as a free
Did anyone grab the cover for my microphone? It fell off during launch.
African-American defense attorney,
is that
a radical Irish Jewish law student, and a Protestant minister in the indefatigable Pratt.
Yeah, it was my microphone wind cover.
His spirit unbroken by 8 years in solitary confinement. A horrifying miscarriage of justice will never have been rectified.
Hey, next time I hike up, I'll look for it and see if I can't bring it down for you.
Yeah, it looks like a giant gray Q-tip head.
Yeah, okay.
It's streamlined, and it's about 9 or 10.
You launched Marshall?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I launched off the top, and I think when I went prone, I knocked it off of my microphone.
Yeah, I'll take a look down the lip a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I'll give you my card so you can hit me up.
Yeah.
Boy, am I tired. Hey, Gary, how was it for you?
Well, then, you know, we want to, as a strong community, we want to be able to correct any types of injustice or inequality. We want to be able to protect our most intelligent, valuable citizens. We want to protect them, support them, love them, and we want to protect them from abuse and process at all levels. Whatever organization it may be. It could be your workplace, it could be the police department, it could be the FBI, the ATF. You know, we've got checks and balances, and you know, I've been telling everybody that, you know, as I do more research, you know, a lot of these departments have internal affairs departments. So you can write a complaint to internal affairs. You can write a complaint to the Inspector General office, the office of the Inspector General, for whatever department you're dealing with that you feel is being unfair or abusive. So, you know, you've got checks and balances, and it's good to complain truthfully and with a lot of detail. So I just want to talk about this because you're going to run into narcissists everywhere. And, you know, when a narcissist is in a position of power, they're going to slowly and slyly and covertly and ferociously and sadistically abuse their power. And these are the types of people that are just going to continue to gain prestige and tenure and, you know, powerful positions, and nobody wants to deal with somebody who is in a position of authority. in a collapsed culture.
The guy with the worst landing talks the most shit.
The best members, the most valuable, precious members of the community, and it's what cannibalizes one of those at a time. You cannibalize one targeted individual at a time, and it's usually the best person, the most creative, nicest, sweetest, kindest person gets cannibalized by the predators. So that's something that is a big problem. As the low morale becomes more pervasive and low morale intensifies and gets worse with time, the checks and balances is just pretentious. Leadership is ostentatious, and you just start to feel like you're in a fascist community, or you feel like you're in Nazi Germany. Sometimes it feels that horrible for targeted individuals, or for people that feel like they can't find somebody to love them and to value them. So you're going from one narcissist to the next. You might have been raised in a family of narco-Slavs, and they all were fighting with you and bullying you and yelling at you and rolling their eyes at you all the time about everything, and you could never be you. You could never be an individual, and you never felt free. You never felt that your human rights were ever validated. You were ridiculed whenever you stood up for yourself or asserted yourself. You were attacked and bullied more ferociously the more you tried to assert yourself. This happens in toxic families. They program you to be set up for failure later on in life with other psychopaths in the community. So you feel like everywhere you go, whether it's family or people you're dating, that you're not being valued, you're not getting respected, and you're not getting the love that you deserve. This is because there's just so many narcissists, borderlines, and otherwise unhealthy, self-absorbed, selfish, slovenly, uncouth, boorish people out there. And I know exactly what that's like. And I'm so glad to see that over the years, on YouTube especially, there has been quite a handful of YouTubers that are talking more and more about this problem, that it's a sociological problem.
And thanks for all you do. You do such a great job.
You probably wouldn't hear a psychology professor talk a lot about this, but it is really important to research and to talk about this, because I think it is infecting thousands of people's lives. So, and I think it's important to discuss, it's important to have conversations about this, it's important to research, it's important to be creative about fixing or correcting these problems that are incited by narcissists, borderlines, and psychopaths. Remember, they don't want to make any effort to fix themselves, so what they do is they just drag everybody who has potential down into the morgue. They sort of ruin and corrupt everyone that has potential. They just corrupt all of that and ruin all that. So just be aware of how they can corrupt good people. So I want people to continue to explore articles and continue listening to my videos. I made a lot of great videos recently. I talked a lot about the quality of narcissists, and
finally it turned on, and then once I got above the ridge, I just blast off to 7180 or something.
Walking on eggshells is a major problem with them. They have muddled thinking, chronic complaining to destroy your life is common with them. The good-looking Barbie doll and Ken doll, trendy, handsome, beautiful narcissists are horrible too. They're especially horrible.
In fact, I was expecting to see you.
There's an epidemic of TV-obsessed couch potato slob narcissists. I've made a lot of videos about the bitch culture, that you get a reward and a trophy for being the snarkiest, rudest bitch in the office.
Funny thing is, he just said he landed on top when he's right there. He had no idea where he went and wouldn't listen to the person that's been watching him the whole time.
They pull you into control of the dialogue. They treat you as if
they
your
help
role
me
is wrong, and I talked a lot about this.
The Ravens
it's tough
help me.
for the victim to be well-educated, but yet always feel wrong.
They
always feel
fucking
wrong, even
showed
though,
me the way.
naturally a
I
confident,
got more Raven
wonderful
help
person,
today.
but wrong and dirty and filthy around these scumbags. Toxic parents and narcissists and abuse amnesia that's associated with that. So you got to think about how you have amnesia or dissociative amnesia where you forget because you don't want those burdensome memories haunting you forever. But unfortunately, they can be in flashbacks. So
Same
resolve
thing.
it.
You had to stay
It comes
in the
back to haunt you
confines,
years
or
later
you got
or several months later. But yeah,
okay, same
I've
thing
experienced
happened to me today.
amnesia where I completely forget. I'm just like, I can't remember that certain types of ferocious abuse ever happened.
Yeah.
I made some video about gang stalking tactics. I've talked a lot about the surveillance society.
We're finally getting
gang
some
stalking
real
is intended to corrode away, just like what any narcissist would do one-on-one, which is to corrode everything about you. Corrode your future, corrode your livelihood, corrode your feelings, corrode your mind. You're just trying to be corrosive towards you. That's what gang stalking is. Only an authority figure, somebody with power and money, is using your acquaintances to corrode you, to abuse you by proxy. And a lot of people are referred to as flying monkeys. The psychopath, like the Wicked Witch of the West, sends out the flying monkeys to taunt and torment and frustrate Dorothy, Scarecrow, and the Tin Man. And if you've ever looked back to the Wizard of Oz as some really great symbolism. Narcopaths make it seem as if the victim has a personality disorder. You can wrongfully be accused of being mentally ill,
Trust me, I was there.
They treat you like a horrible burden. They corrode your future. They program you like a cult leader would program a follower. So you're just kind of programmed from the very beginning, you know. So it's sort of like, even if it's just a boyfriend that's a narcissist, they're programming you as if they are your cult leader. Multivariable gaslighting causes painful confusion. The confusion is not just, you know, frustrating. It's very painful, long-lasting mental anguish. It's multivariable, meaning there's a lot of variables going on. It's not just one variable. Sexual gaslighting and gang stalking. You got to also think about how, you know, sexual innuendo, sexual harassment. Sexual gaslighting is made to make you feel ugly, deformed, defective, screwed up sexually, and so you feel really horrible about yourself in a sexual way. Narcissists and borderlines make every interaction confusing. They do. Narcissists and borderlines accuse you of being insecure after they attack. Yeah, they attack you repetitively, or they have your flying monkeys abuse you by proxy, and then they say, well, you're insecure. Well, you don't know how to make the right decisions. Well, you're paranoid. Well, you're just clowning around. You're a weak person. You're just a coward. You know, that's how they also sabotage you. They use fake niceness, virtue signaling.
Oh my God!
Gaslighting is behind every dysfunctional relationship. Every time you're somewhere and anywhere, any context, and over a couple days or a couple weeks, it feels like it's strange or dysfunctional or it's not working. There's somebody or at least a couple of people that are gaslighting. And you just haven't really figured it out yet. Your brain hasn't, like, you know, put the puzzle pieces together completely. So it's sort of like one of those complex jigsaw puzzles where you've just got like 1,000 little tiny pieces and you got to put all these jigsaw puzzle pieces together, and that's basically what it's like with a dysfunctional relationship. And you just have to put it all together. While you're doing that, you're being taken advantage of. They pose as helper as they gaslight you. They pretend to care as they betray you. They give you crazy advice. They harm you as they give you, or they harm you then give you crazy advice. Yeah, they betray you, humiliate you, harass you, bully you. Pick on you, henpeck you, give you crazy advice.
I want to get the Jim Brown Award again.
Okay. They pretend to like you as they sabotage you.
No, it's here. It's the Lauren Pedrazi
Award with
Award.
gaslighting.
What happened?
Get broken down
ferocious strawman arguments lingers in your mind.
Oh yeah.
I get tired of it, so I
They are
started breaking
snide
his
as they
lighter
gaslight
down.
you.
She comes over.
They are
What
addicted
are
to
you
gaslighting. It's an
doing?
addiction to them. It's a very,
break
it's a
your fucking
sickening
lighter
addiction.
down.
It's like being
Don't
around a
take my
heroin
lighter.
addict. They're just addicted to fucking with your mind,
Hey, but
gaslighting you.
she had nothing on Crash Corbin. That guy was leaving his up for 2
They
days.
customize their
Oh,
gaslighting
I've
to make
heard
it more
about
painful.
that.
They use monologues. Their hyper-controlling monologues causes long-term
Luckily,
damage.
I've always had friends to break my shit down for me when I screw up.
Yeah, he'd land here and party, wake up in the
They
morning.
arrogantly destroy your life with gang stalking. They do it arrogantly.
Yeah,
Promise
he's a
you.
funny
They have
guy.
the elitist attitude as they mob you, as they recruit more and more
Yeah, Alex.
slobs and bullies to
Indian
henpeck you,
and
to rape at you,
Marshall.
meddle into your life. They do it in a
Like
smug,
maintaining
imperious,
and how the
narcissistic,
state can do that.
arrogant way, and it's disgusting. It's reprehensible. Behind systems of blacklisting or narcissists and psychopaths, pretending to be good Christians, pretending to be good leaders, or pretending to be good liberals or good conservatives. I mean, it's all
I
so
thought about it
bizarre.
because I wasn't
How,
sure the
you know,
wind was
they're
going to
in a way
switch
of
on Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
I hate you to
I
leave
had
me in
everything
hostile work
planned
environment.
out in my
I've been
head.
through that. I think a lot of people have been through. I hate you, don't leave me in a hostile work environment. Hire you, the first couple of days everything is going fine, then they start hating you. But they don't want you to leave, they don't want you to quit, but they're treating you like you're garbage, or they're treating you like, oh, you're just not trying, you're not doing your best, you're just mediocre, whatever. You know, and, you know, I hate you, don't leave me in a hostile work environment. Means you've got some bosses that have borderline personality disorder, you've got coworkers that are that way. So I have addressed all those issues in my videos, and so I want you all to really take the time to really explore this great, wonderful online sanctuary that's here to support, protect, and love the good, wonderful people who have been wrongfully victimized or bamboozled by a lot of narcissists. You know, having one in your life is horrible, but you know, as we encounter more of these people, we realize, okay, this is more of a societal, cultural problem. What do we do about it? You know, that's why we have sociologists who have PhDs and master's degrees in sociology. That's why we have a lot of psychologists out there. They're supposed to be, you know, wanting to fix these problems.
So I land at like 5, 6
So I wanted to recommend a website, fairytaleshadows.com. Living through and recovering from a relationship with a narcissist. Again, it's at Fairy Tale Shadows. And the article she wrote is gaslighting in relationships with narcissists, how to spot it and what to do, by Dr. Kristen Milstead. She has a PhD in sociology, and the article is really good. And again, it's called Gaslighting in Relationships with Narcissists, how to spot it and what to do. And she says here, gaslighting in a relationship can be hard to spot. It is one of the most dangerous forms of emotional abuse, if not the most dangerous. It is a favorite tactic of narcissists who use it in their everyday lives. Those close to them, however, may end up with the most psychological damage. Gaslighting is designed to convince true of three things. One, you are wrong. Two, the discrepancy that lies between the truth and falsehood is harmless. Three, if you fight for the truth, something is wrong with you and something bad will happen. This is a trifold attack on the basic foundation of negotiating a shared narrative for how daily life unfolds. Over a long period of time, if you have any emotional investment at all in a person who frequently gaslights, it can create an almost insurmountable threat to your own ability to hang on to reality. So I want you to read more from the author, Dr. Kristen Milstead, who has a PhD in sociology, and her website is Fairy Tale Shadows. And I like her website, I like what she has to say. She says in a segment, how to deal with gaslighting in relationships. One, continue to collect evidence that is happening for yourself, collect it for yourself. Two, trust your gut. Everyone has a miscommunication in relationships sometimes, and if this happens frequently,
he's already
the narcissist actually gaslighting you. But there are times when you're not sure or you don't actually have evidence, go with your gut. Three, each time this happens, write it down as soon as you can. And I think it's a good idea to keep a trauma journal with a checklist. That way you don't forget.
Then you're wasting your whole life instead of living it.
Psychopath has been doing to you, because they're going to be really mean to you, or they're going to be really passive-aggressive or sneaky, and when you've caught them, you're more likely to forgive them if they start apologizing, or if they give you a gift, or if they start flattering you.
Get it on video and let the world decide.
The mixed messages, I think, is a form of manipulation that you should write down in your trauma journal or in your abuse journal. So this way you can look back at the history of manipulations or abuse that your covert narcissist or psychopath is doing to you. You can respond with, that's not what I remember, and then let it go. If the narcissist walks out, use the time to empower yourself. Yeah, absolutely. It's very sickening to ever have a conversation with a narcissist. Even on a good day, the narcissist has an agenda. The narcissist just wants to upper hand, just wants to, even on a good day, the narcissist can argue with you about the weather. They can argue about anything pleasant. They can turn any topic that's pleasant and peaceful into something that is irritating and confusing. That's just how narcissists and borderlines are. They do not have a good side, although they will fake it until they make it. They will pretend to be sweet like Mary Poppins, or they will pretend to be sophisticated like Albert Einstein, but once you get to know these people, they're really just poison. So, this is the full spectrum analysis commentary here for today. I do great work. It's the very best, and if you want some more videos that help you, I've got hundreds here on Activism of Care, but I also recommend Michelle Dennis on YouTube, as well as Les Carter, and Shrink for Men. She has some very good content as well. So,
all right, Gary,
I'm glad to hear from the listeners. I'm glad that you are responding to me and writing to me. It's great to hear from you with your major comments. And when you go on YouTube and you explore this topic, you're going to filter through a lot of YouTube channels. There's a lot of pretentious, goofy, ostentatious channels out there. Just some YouTubers are laughing.
Nicholas.
Nicholas, Gary Anderson. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Gary.
You here for a while, or?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead.
See how the weather goes.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I hope to see you here again.
Yeah.
Fun to see you. More attention-seeking personalities that make YouTube channels, and they just want attention for themselves as they pretend to be the victim. So, there's just a lot of mediocre, pretentious channels out there on YouTube that you've got to filter out of your life. You've got to focus on the good ones. I think Activism here is the very best, but if you want to explore other options, there's Michelle Nevis, there is Les Carter, Linda Martinez-Louis, and
good.
Genuine Soul is awesome, and you've got just so many great books to read. I recommended a lot of books on this video. And look at the slideshow, familiarize yourself with checks and balances, Supreme Court precedent, and civil rights, and familiarize yourself. And you always have it on the slideshow if you want books to read or anything like that. You've got a lot of great options and alternatives. I'm happy to correspond with you. Please go ahead and donate right now through GoFundMe, and have a lovely, wonderful day.
Yeah, maybe I should donate my club fees to you instead of... Nah.